Good evening and welcome to the Grant County Board of Zoning Appeals meeting for November the 7th, 2022. If you would, please all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Be seated. We have a new BZA member to introduce tonight. That'd be Randy Adkins, and he's appointed to be here from the APC. So he'll be the representative from that. So we welcome him, and I think we all know him anyway.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
All right, in tonight's meeting, we will have a hearing, and during that hearing, we will take testimony from any member of the public who wishes to address the board. And then the board will also discuss among themselves and reach a decision. If you would, please all take this moment to silence your cell phones.
Silence. Can be more silent than that, can it?
Thank you. During the meeting, we ask that you do not talk to other members of the audience and that you do not openly engage in dialogue with any other member in the audience. In other words, people who are opposed or people who are in favor should not address each other during any testimony or during this meeting. Okay. At this time, Brenda, would you give us a roll call for attendance, please?
Adkins,
Yes, here.
Powell,
Present.
Johnson, Jones,
Here.
Long,
Here.
Maynard,
Here.
Hartman.
Here. Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes for October 3rd. In reading these minutes, there's some things that are covered in great detail and some things that are not covered at all. And I can give you a transcript this time, and you can then make the minutes and make sure all the major points that were discussed are included, and make sure that every vote is in there, if there was any vote, and any motion that was made and seconded. I don't see that there's problems with that part, but I do see that there was a lot missing that were major points made. I reviewed the video and it was pretty good, very audible. I could hear everything. So I think we should take another try at this and review them next month for an actual vote. Moving on to number 4, approval of findings of fact. There were none. Public hearing, old business, none. New business, we have docket 09 BZA V22 with Adam Smith. Mr. Smith, if you would come to the podium. And please sign in there. Mr. Malott, would you introduce this petition?
I didn't like packet backwards. Docket 9, BZA B-22, Adam Smith, 560, Indiana, 46928. Property location is currently zoned agricultural. Description. The petitioner is requesting a development standard variance for the construction of 100 square foot single story two addition off of the north 30 in an agricultural zone district. This does not include an additional 10 right of way. Overall, there would be a total of 20 foot between the lane and the road. This project is variance on the north end of the property. He's also two others that is within, already within. He's also adding to the west side and to the south side.
Forgive the interruption, but Bill has finally turned his mic off. It was interrupting the county.
In looking at the site, we did have, the highway department did have a concern with the site as far as vehicles being parked in the grass area, making it difficult for the intersection between 550 or 550,
500, 1050.
1050 south. We did discuss with David White, and David White went out there with the highway department and actually looked at it and took pictures. One of the things that we had talked about was putting forth conditions. There is a grassy area between 1050 south and the driveway / parking lot that did have some semis and equipment located there that would make it difficult at that T intersection. It looks like we would have, if we set conditions with that nothing gets parked on there, that opens up that line of sight to the west. And I tried to take pictures to show you where setting at the intersection, setting back to the west, to the east. David White, like I said, he went out there 10:31. He came in. David said that he would guess that he's okay with it, with the conditions. Other things I noted, as far as the property goes, adjacent properties are farm ground. There is no housing within a quarter mile of this property, or there's one house within a quarter mile of the property. And for the variance, I believe that is my highlights. Is there anything you'd like to?
No, I just pretty much wanted to reiterate kind of what he said. At our intersection there at 1050 and 500, we're still gonna be a little over 20 feet off of the road and roughly 150 feet from the corner, correct?
From the projected corner of the lean-to to the actual intersection's 132 feet.
Okay. So we're sitting back quite a ways off. So, and then I also have pictures that I've brought if you guys would like to see them. The adjacent cornfield that is right next to us, as of today, it is 16 foot on the road. So it's the cornfield is 4 foot closer to the road than we're gonna be, on both sides. So they don't have that 130 foot, give that we have. So that's kind of my main thing, as well as there's a couple other areas that we can pull up if need be, that are much closer in our area than what we will be, within a mile of our property.
What is your projected use for the lean-to?
So the lean-to essentially is going to be storage. So my building that I have right now is 60 by 80, but within that building is just, it's only a 60 by 60 finished area of it. I have a section of cold storage. And what I'd like to do is build that lean-to to put my personal things in that lean-to to finish out my shop on the inside, so that we can have more space to get trucks in and out. That way we don't have more things sitting outside, to be able to employ a couple people that I can have them work inside out there, to get things moved in and out much faster, because right now we're just a bottleneck. Um, we can't employ enough people to get the trucks in and out like we need to, and it's essential to us.
When this building was built, was it intended to be a business?
It was not
It's kind of become a business now.
correct.
Okay. I happen to know a couple people who have their trucks repaired at your shop, and you are providing a good, necessary service to this community. That is a good thing. I applaud you for that.
Thank you.
Now, this business seems to have grown, and you may have potential to grow much more.
Yeah, it's possible.
Your property appears to be fairly maxed out.
With this addition, this will be as much as our property, that property can be utilized for this business. And right now, with as big as these trucks are, my building's only able to fit 2 trucks in at a time, with two semis in at a time, I'll put it that way. Like I said, when I built it, it was not designed to work on semis. It kind of started as my brother-in-law farms, family farms in the area, helping them out. Well, word gets around, this guy, can do what he's doing. If I'd have known that it was gonna transpire into this, it would have been built much different to where I could get a couple, it would have been deeper to my back property line versus having to do this addition now. But anyways, this will pretty much max out what we have to do with this property. If it gets any bigger than what it is after this addition, we'll have to be first moved somewhere else.
I would note that if you look on the excuse me, if you look on the aerial, there is an L around the property. That is also his property
Yeah.
that he is going to combine in.
Yeah, we own that property, to the west.
Like I said, I had the special exception first because it kind of identified all that.
So why is he not using that house part of the property?
He's going to combine the property into one.
You said Mr. Wright was okay with the traffic pattern as far as we put restrictions on it. What happens if he doesn't follow those restrictions?
As far as we can pull the special exception, start a code enforcement case, includes $500 fines to court.
You all have the aerial picture. Okay. Is it okay to build on the property line like that? The original building I see is right on the property line, is that correct?
On the backside you're talking about,
Yeah, on the backside,
that's where we're talking about. I also own the property behind me.
correct. Is there any code on building on a property line?
But 2018, it probably should have been combined and addressed at that point in the permit.
The property should have combined and then you could have
Right.
the line. What needs to be done now to make that correct?
It's just a signature, correct?
Go back and just
Yeah.
Accessories
cover that.
office and combine the properties
And I believe
and record
that
it.
that's already in order.
Okay, so you'll get that handled.
Yeah, before we issue,
Okay,
if you guys approve.
all right.
And it appears that what's in question here is the 25 by 85 that lays north of the building.
That is correct.
It appears that on the backside, the west side, you're not extending that any further than what, 40 feet?
25 foot. It's gonna go 25 feet towards the field, 40 feet the length of the building.
Why would you not extend it full length of the building?
Because I have, like posts, like it wouldn't be utilized to be able to pull trucks through it. To where the existing part of my building is cold storage, so there's already a door opening back there. To where I could use it to pull a truck all the way through.
So the
To where-
25 by 85 is gonna receive a truck through
No.
storage?
No, the 25 by 85 is going to be, just storage. The 20 by 60 that is not finished on my barn, right now, that's gonna go on the west side. The 20, so what you can't see in that picture is the furthest north section of that building that I currently have is not finished, the furthest 25 feet. And so I want to build the addition on the backside to kind of help aid when I finish that, make it one big pull-through truck spot per se.
Okay.
But yeah, the
I
addition,
clearly understand that, but
yeah, the addition that's going up is, like I said, it's strictly going to be, it's not gonna be finished on the inside or anything like that. It's just gonna be kind of gravel storage.
So you're talking about this area right here where you got 40 feet?
Yep, so, and the reason, what he's asking is why didn't I just extend this all the way
Yeah.
down? Well, I have trusses on the inside, so I can't, this 40 feet right here is open on the backside of this building. I have a slider door. To where, once I build this into, this will make this an 85-foot bay that I can finish. You see what I'm saying? I can put trucks all the way through that. To where this, I couldn't utilize it with the structure supports that go through here.
Okay, without putting beams, header beams in it.
Correct, yeah, they're 8 foot on center and I couldn't put a semi in
Yeah, you-
between the, yeah.
You could header it.
I could header it, but at an affordable expense, it would be substantially more to do it like that.
My other concern is your parking area. It's really maxed out. There's been a lot of trucks there.
And it varies from season to season. I mean, harvest, we're essential to the community. I mean, there's the only business in our area that really does what we do is going out December 1st. So there's really nowhere local per se for our local farm community to go. So, we're trying to fill that void. And like I said, if I can get more space, on the inside, that will reduce the amount of trucks out there because then I can have more people working on turning them out.
My concern is that when your customers come in and park their truck, they're gonna start expanding to the north into that grass area.
No, I'm very clear, and especially I have a neighbor that's actually, she was courteous enough to call me this last week and talk about this variance, and I'm in agreement that in the grass area right there, there should not be anything parked here. A few weeks ago, we did have a couple trucks towed in when we were not there that were parked kind of out of the corner that did make it a bear to see around. But nobody was there when they were dropped off type thing. So we got those moved, and we're gonna try to make sure, once she voiced her concern, you know, we'll do everything to keep that grass area open. And with this thing with David White with the county, we're gonna have to keep it open. Because if it's not open, then they will pull our special exception.
Okay. You could expand your lot a little bit to the south, it looks like. There's no building there anyway.
That's part of a permit that's already been approved.
Yeah, they are doing an expansion on South Oak.
And it's essentially just going to be, a very small, expansion that is gonna go there in between the garage and it's just like it's essentially, it's not big enough to, it's gonna be more storage pretty much, more than anything. To kind of help with getting things out of the lot per se. I don't have any plans on finishing it at this time because I can't really go deep enough to utilize it. What we have applied for on the south side is a 22 by 30, is that correct? I believe, a 22 by 30 in between the garage and the pole barn, and then on the back side, just a lean-to for a porch that I have going in out back there.
Um, You could install some type of small fence or even just posts and a cable along there that would not obstruct vision down the road, but would, you know, keep your customers alert that that's not an area to park.
Yeah, I would agree with that. My only objection to that would be, I can't keep a mailbox up now with, as far as like snow in the wintertime and everything like that. Just a post, I don't know that is gonna do much. I just for fear of it just being a nuisance item per se than anything. I'm not opposed to it. But you know, as well as I do, if there's a will, there's a way with some people. Something's gonna happen, but
You've got 10 foot in from the road of right of way, but nothing permanent can be installed
Yeah,
into.
and I mean, I wouldn't build it into the right of way, but several posts down along the edge of that parking lot and then over here towards the grass lets people know that's not
Still
parking.
be able to pull in.
Yeah, and you still pull in and out.
No, I mean, into
But
the
you could-
lean-to,
What's that?
to pull into the lean-to.
That's going on the north side. Yeah, you gotta have room for that too, at some point, yeah. It's gotta set back sometime.
when you say I see what you're saying with the poles, but I don't see what you're saying with the pull-in on the lean-to type thing, because it's gonna come off of our existing driveway. It's just a little cutout off of our existing driveway that we've already done.
So
I
that
was just
you
saying
won't
you
be
could
pulling in
pull
for that.
Oh,
direction.
I see what you're saying, yeah, yeah.
But from this direction, you won't be pulling into the lean-to with a truck, right?
Yeah, not from the street, not from 1050, no.
Yeah. Well, you know, like you said, people are gonna show up when you're not there, and when you're not open, and drop trucks right in the way.
Yeah, and that's possible, like I said, and I don't know that, I mean, even if they did show up, then, I mean, they could always pull them too far forward into the other open area, you know what I mean?
Could we ask for signs?
You could do signs.
Do a no parking sign. I would be more than agreeance with that. That would be fine.
Well, I mean, to comply, you probably need to do something.
Yeah, I
That
mean,
was just a suggestion.
yeah, well, I mean, yeah, it would be to my benefit per se to do a sign because, like I said, I mean, they're already kind of making an exception or what's the right terminology for it?
This would be a variance.
Yeah, but I'm saying what the county wants, or. not
Health
the already-
conditions.
Yeah, they're already kind of setting a condition that nothing's to be.
They would be saying.
We would set the
We
condition.
set the condition.
Okay.
That's, the way we're gonna go.
Yeah.
The board has the option to set a condition
Understood.
as approval of the variance. So, okay, is there any more discussion? Any other questions from the board members? Okay, sir, you may take your seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any opposition to this petition?
This flyer that you passed out, is this an opposition?
It kind of, we've got two, for Mr. Smith,
Okay.
so
I'm
it's,
sorry, is here?
doesn't look like they're here.
And you want to make sure that, we did have some opposition.
Yes, did this arrive on time
Thursday.
Thursday? 2 business days before? Okay. Okay, there is a letter opposing this. The board has it. Mr. Malat, would you read the letter?
Letter is addressed to Grant County Area Plan Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. It is in response to Adam Smith and Smitty's Garage at 10560 South 500 East, Fairmount, Indiana 46928, to whom it may concern. My name is Ronald Watson, and I reside at 11525 South 500 East, Fairmount, Indiana 46928. I have owned this property since 1976 and have so far had quiet enjoyment of my rural property and country living location. However, over the last few years, this has changed. Mr. Adam Smith has expanded his business, Smitty's Garage, to a point where it is not only a nuisance to the quiet enjoyment of rural living, but creating safety concerns. As you well know, the county roads in Grant County are narrower than the county highways and are rural roads constructed for rural travel. Furthermore, 500 East, 1050 South, and 1100 South are county roads with a vast amount of agricultural land which is cultivated for crops each season. Agricultural land frequently can hinder visibility at crossroads during the growth season right up until harvest. However, the greatest visibility safety issue at the crossroad of 1050 South and 500 East is the increased amount of semi-tractors parked close to the roads, with Mr. Smith continuing to expand his business closer and closer to the road. It has greatly hindered visibility to turn safely at that intersection. What used to be 5 to 6 semi-tractors is now upwards of 20 plus continuously parked on his property. Additionally, Mr. Smith continues to expand his building on his land and increase the traffic to this area. Previously, there were a handful of semi-tractors traveling down the roads to his business. Now there are several each and every day. This rule setting is not suitable for this type of heavy vehicle traffic. I was advised by your commission that only the neighbors with property adjacent to Mr. Smith received notice to this meeting. However, I wanted to voice my opinions as a member of the public who resides very close to Mr. Smith's property and business. It is my opinion that continuing to allow Mr. Smith to expand his business further will increase the number of vehicles not only traveling down the country road causing further breakdown, but additionally will cause more and more vehicles parking closer to the road on this intersection. As a member of the public, I am concerned for the safety of the public when turning on this crossroad, and I am concerned about the effects this will have on our road to continue to allow this increase in heavy vehicular traffic in our area. Thank you for your time and consideration of my public opinion. I have provided my address and phone number below if the Area Plan Commission has any questions or would like to speak further to me on this matter. Sincerely, Ronald Watson, 11525 South 500 East, Fairmount, Indiana, 46928.
Okay, there's a note for the board. This address is very close to a mile away. It's based off of 11525 compared to 10560. Just as a matter of note. Okay, I will close the public hearing at this time. And it is open for discussion.
Are you going to give him a chance to respond?
What's that?
You're going to give him a chance to respond to it?
Do you wish to respond to that letter?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I'd like to point out to the board,
Yeah, come on. Yeah,
I mean, I see the point, I really do. Essentially, there's semis that travel up and down these roads every day. I'd like to note also that the semis that come to our property are non-loaded. They're less weight bearing on the road than a normal agricultural tractor would be, loaded to 80, 90,000 pounds. That travel up and down every day. So I'd like to note that as well to the board. Just kind of my side of everything per se. And the majority of our traffic will not come from that side of our property. The majority of our traffic comes from State Road 26, which is from the north. This address is from the south. So there's not, I'm not going to say that there's not more traffic, but that's not where the majority of the traffic to our business is coming. That's all I have to say.
thank you. Okay.
Is Bill Johnson trying to, he was gonna be on the speaker.
He's on there.
I'm having all kind of trouble if you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now, Bill.
Okay, well, you said I was cutting out on the mic, but then now I can talk, okay?
Have you been here
So-
for the entire hearing?
The only thing I missed was the Pledge of Allegiance and the minutes. That's it. I got the whole thing, yes.
Okay, very good. You know, since we can't see you, you're not allowed to vote, but you are to have time with us in discussion.
Well, I've been looking at myself. Let me try it again, because I've been watching the whole thing and looking at me, and I'm not sure what to do,
I see. Okay.
but I've been there. I don't know. They've changed it a little bit, and change is not good for me. Sorry about that. Go ahead. If I can't vote, I can't vote.
He still can give his opinion.
He can give his opinion, yes. And it's time for board discussion. So is there further discussion and any other questions?
I would think that you would have to put some semi-permanent posts in the way. I don't know if this is the right way, but PCV filled with cement or something, which would not give you an obstruction of view particularly, but it would kind of prevent somebody from parking semis or parking things out in that grassed area that you're talking about. Because the biggest aggravation to me in the spring, summer, and fall is when we get to the farmers having their crops growing right up to the edge where you can't see, and you have to stick your nose halfway onto the highway before you can go ahead. And what I'm listening to is the same kind of consideration for that, but with a sign, no parking, and with a, from the post, it's just like we do for safety for children in schools and so forth and so on. They're there, but you can't drive a car or a truck through them. They're close enough together that it restricts you. And that would be my consideration as far as protecting that view.
You know, once somebody starts parking there and they make ruts or destroy the grass, then more of that's gonna happen, especially when you're not there to police it. I do think you need something to define your parking area on the north side.
Is there, and is it still open to comments or is it? I was gonna say, I just wanted to note also, obviously I live on the property as well. So, I mean,
Go ahead, come on, Chris.
I didn't know. I just wanted to note, I live on the property as well as well. So the amount of time that I'm gone, is really, so, not to say that, you know, people could still drop things off for a few hours or say, but, there's almost somebody out there all the time, except for the weekends get a little spotty. If somebody were to drop something off on the weekend, and that here recently, that was our issue as far as, they dropped something off on the weekend. So, but it was moved, fairly quickly. And now that I know it's a concern, especially to, our neighbors, that, like I said, that our neighbor called me, and talked to me about it, I'll obviously do a better job of making sure that it's moved out of there in a timely manner. And with this, condition as well, possibly. So,
Do you inform the persons when they drop off early or without you there? Do you let them know that you're not there? And
I,
or we want to address that?
I need to address that. That is not something that I have previously said, to anybody. And like I said, I didn't realize that it was as big of a concern per se. But it is something that I will certainly get better at addressing to people when they drop off a truck. Hey, make sure, you would think, unfortunately, in today's standards, you would think that it would be somewhat self-explanatory to park in the gravel. But, it's coming to my attention that I need to say something, very much so. So,
I have a question. Are we talking about the variance from the lean-to?
Or would you come up to the podium and sign in? State your name, sign in. Direct.
Mark. The question is, are we talking about the variance for the lean-to, or are we talking about a variance for the, so rezoning of the property for business?
That comes after this.
Okay,
That's a separate
All right.
hearing. This is for the variance
okay.
for that north building. We're considering what needs to be done. If the variance for the building is allowed, what needs to be done,
Okay,
because
that's
as
my
it
question.
spans closer, it might be natural to some people to park further. Are there any other questions?
Can you hear me, Ed?
I can hear you, Bill.
Can you see me? I can see
Can see you
myself. You
too.
should be able to see me.
Yep,
We can see you now.
we can see you.
Okay, well, I kept pushing buttons. I'm not real good at this, but, What, did I notice with the paper that he'd already graded most of that
Yes,
area? It's already graded, so he's just anticipating that we'll say yes?
Well, Bill, he's also doing additions to the west and the south. And those are permitted additions. So why he had Dave's excavating out there, he had Dave go ahead and do the third site too.
Okay, well. Okay, well, it looked like everything was done already. And all he needs is us to say yes. So, and you're saying that he's still 20 feet away from that intersection. Have I got that right?
He's 132.
from the intersection, 20 feet from the edge of the road, correct?
Okay.
Got the center
Well,
of-
I'd say one truck would do it. Does he have trailers that come with them semis?
You service trailers as well, sir?
Okay, well, that's gonna take up all that space real quick.
Yeah.
I guarantee you're gonna have a trailer there.
Yeah,
Not
and
only gonna be semis, it's gonna be trailers.
that is a very good question. Very, very rarely do we do any trailer work because the size of our facility, our building is only 60 foot deep. And we have stuff along the backside of it, so I cannot get a trailer into my facility. I will say there has been a few, I probably count on a hand or two, how many trailers there has been there in the past, and those have been kind of in and out one-day jobs, such as a quick air leak or something of that nature, because of, like you said, already, it just takes up too much of my real estate to do it. So to kind of satisfy that section of our business and not lose out on that for our farming community, what I've done is, I've started a service truck, to go take care of those trailer repairs for the customer.
And one question, is it Mr. Wright there, is the superintendent of roads for Grant County, is he there?
No.
David White? No.
No, David.
Yeah, is it David? All right, then is there just a T road and a stop sign?
Correct.
And 500 goes right on? There's no
1050
stopping
is
it.
right of way.
Yes,
1050
Wait a
goes
minute.
through, there's a stop on 500.
yeah.
Okay, one more time. Which got the right of way?
1050 has the right of way.
And Dave had to give his blessings. He went out and looked at it and give his okay.
Only with the conditions,
With,
Yeah,
only with conditions, Bill.
yeah.
And what is conditions again? Make sure, because I want to vote, but I'm not sure what you talked about. What's the conditions that he stays back another 10 feet or what?
What is the exact condition on the parking lot?
my recommendation was that there is no parking in the grass.
Okay, but we don't know that distance, or we do know that distance. It looks like it aligns pretty much with the existing building. That's sad.
Right.
Some numbers to
And
make sure.
that's what we would want to maintain.
So what we did,
So-
is I basically went out the 20 foot, took that corner and measured it to the intersection to get 132 feet.
Okay, what's the size of the building from the edge of the existing building to the northernmost projected area?
20 foot off of the doors. Right now, the building is 30 foot off property line, and then you have another 10 foot of right of way to the road.
So the size of the building is 10 feet?
Coming out 20, he's asking for a variance to be 10 foot off property line. Property line is 10 foot off the road.
20 feet from the edge of the road,
Right.
and then what is the distance of the building?
Existing building north.
Okay, so is that grass area 40 feet? Okay, so 40 feet has to be maintained? Is that what the board is saying? would be by a conditional approval. If that's the motion the board wants to make. You may sit down. Thank you. Okay, we'll close the public hearing. After the board to deliberate. If they wish to make a motion, to make a motion.
I would think that we would need to have assurance that there would be constructed vision or more constructed vision for that grassy area to make sure that it's a grassy area.
Are you wanting to continue this or make that some form of a motion?
Well, I would move to accept the variance as long as there was holes or something to separate so that it cannot be parked in and cannot obstruct vision
40-foot area.
in that 40-foot area. I don't think there's, I am capitalist at heart, and I appreciate the fact that he's got a business and is trying his best to make it work as best it possibly can, with some consideration for safety. I don't know that you can restrict the highways or the roads in that area as far as semis and things of that nature. Got farmers that are running semis into that same area.
You want to make sure that the public is safe.
Yeah, the public needs to be safe. And needs to have that worked out.
Sign thing. I have a sign.
With some signage.
Some signage to say that, these, whatever, that they do have a direction that they need to go to, where they can park at.
Right.
Not be.
Okay, I hear a motion to accept the variance 40-foot. Defining parking with signage and no parking for that grassy area to the north of the parking lot. Been around here a little while. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
Motion, Rex Maker. Brenda, oh, excuse me. Any other debate of the motion that's made by the board? Brenda, would you give us a roll call?
Atkins,
Adam works on my trucks. I'm gonna abstain. Does a very good job.
Powell,
Yes.
Munson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yeah.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard,
Yes,
Motion passed. You have your variance. Thank you. And make sure and get that worked out. The area plan director right away on the parking. Next on the docket is 05 SP-22. And this is for a special exception. Mr. Adam Smith's business. Mr. do you have anything to add on this special exception to it?
Well, I can read through this, but I think I covered it all on the other.
I think you probably hit a lot of it, yes. Okay. Do you have anything to add on your petition, special exception to approve this as a exception to an agricultural use? Allowing you to have a truck repair business on this property. This special exception would be for you only. You would not stay with this property. Sold. The barn would revert back to being residential use.
So he hasn't had been zoned before? He had to-
No. This building was built as agriculture.
It's kind of transpired into this kind of, in a whirlwind of events per se. So yes, this
And you never thought to get a permit to?
zone of business, honestly, no, ma'am, I did not. This first time business owner, I thought when I approved everything through the state, that kind of transponded with everything. I mean, I've got a registered business license through the state. All of that, I just kind of assumed that once you register.
This was kind of through our discussion for a variance as we started talking about what he was doing inside. I kind of said, well, we probably need to get in. Size, because it's not, everything isn't just his.
Yes.
So while we were going for the variance, I said, let's get both of them in front of the BZA.
But as far as to add, I mean, as he touched basis on earlier, there's no like neighboring properties right up next to us. So there's no people that are gonna be, disturbed right next to us, like an air impact running or anything like that. We're far out of the distance of all of that, so. That's really all I had to add to it.
So they did get a permit to build it. He did go through the state to run the business. He just was not aware. It was not so.
So you didn't know that he had this business previously before?
No, we did. He was stay like the zoning.
And when I built the building, as I mentioned earlier, it was not built to be a business. It's not built with that intention at all. If it would have been, we wouldn't be here tonight. I would have never had this discussion with you guys. I'd have built it the way that I wanted to in the first place and never had to make these additions, which are much wider and much longer. But it's kind of been a thing that it started out as helping a family member in the farming community to another farmer needing a hand and seeing that void and filling it.
County.
Yes, yeah, I'm trying to do it legit. I'm trying to, I didn't realize that this needed to happen or it would have happened sooner. Like I said, I've got a business license in the state of Indiana and all that's, we're tax paying and all that, so.
Thank you. You may be seated. Is there anyone in opposition? Special exception?
Adam is basically a neighbor of mine, and the service that he provides is obviously needed. Taking the vehicle, no problem with that. And
He's got to speak into the mic. He's got to speak into the mic.
there's the mic.
Bill, he don't have a microphone stand, so you're gonna have to try to hear.
Anyway, I just wanted to say that, Adam's service is needed in the community, obviously. It's growing very fast. My concern is that when we chose to live there, we chose to live in a residential ag area, not really in a site that can service commercial vehicles. Part of the opposition was when we asked for details of this business, there was. We didn't really have a lot of details on what it was gonna be, other than obviously when you drive by and look at it. The other concern was if you rezone this commercial, which you just said, it stays with Adam, it doesn't stay with the property. So part of the reason being here tonight was just basically, what is the scope of this business? Is it 24/7? We're gonna expect more traffic up and down the roads than we already do in a residential area. Like I said, when we chose to live there, it's not to have that type of trucks up and down the road every day. And a lot of these sites for these business and commercial trucks are located on highways or interstates to keep that traffic there. So that was my main concern for the opposition letter, and to come here tonight was just basically to find out more information about what his scope was, what the plans were, how rezoning of that property could affect the areas out there in general in the future. And again, it's not against Adam and his work ethic and what he does. I appreciate that. Just to try to get more information on, what the plans are, what we could expect in the future. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Also, I'd like to add too, the fact is, how much larger does he plan for this business to get?
He said earlier, what I understood what he said earlier, if he gets any bigger than this, he's gonna have to move.
Yeah, and I,
Would you return to the podium?
yeah, I'll answer that. No, you're fine, you're fine. And that's very true. If I get any bigger than this, we'll be forced to move. There's just not enough property there, or we'll be forced to buy property, somewhere else and build there. And I want to stress as well, this is not my forever where I want to have my business. This is where I forever want to have my home. This is a family property, passed down from generation to generation on my wife's side. I don't know if any of you have ever had a public business where your home is, but you have no home life. So my end game plan is to, once I can grow this business, to be able to afford to buy a property off of I-69 or State Road 9 or whatever that major location where semis could easier access us with trailers and, than to do so at that time. But I have to walk before I can run. That's my theory with it. That's all.
I have a question for you, if you would remain. What are your hours of business?
So that, as well as, I think Mr. Atkins can attest to this, being in the farming community. Our main hours of business are 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, but during agriculture season, harvest, if I have a farmer that calls me at 8 o'clock at night, I generally try to, make that exception to get him back on the road to continue harvest so that it doesn't rain the next day or whatever. So, that is our normal operating hour. So
This isn't a standard 12-hour a day business.
what's that? I'm
I
sorry.
said, this isn't a standard 12 hours a day business. You're saying 9 to 5, which is fine.
Yeah, that's-
Emergency,
Yes, any emergencies or as our workload, addresses. My main concern is trying to keep the parking lot more condensed, trucks in and out. I'm not gonna say that we're not gonna work 8 to 7 one day or something like that. It just kind of, our main operating hours that we're registered for the state with is 9 to 5.
Does the board have any other questions? Mr. Smith? Okay, would you be willing to accept the condition limiting hours?
as, depending on what the hours are, if I could meet that condition, yes. I would like to, you know, what is the condition that you're proposing?
Not proposing one yet. That's an exploring fact that we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about a little bit amongst the board.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, it's a little bit hard to guarantee, you know, yeah, I will only be there till 6 or till 5 or what have you, just because, in a breakdown situation for a farmer, for anybody really, these trucks are their paychecks.
Yeah.
So, I try to meet their demands as much as possible. So that's, I don't want to be, I still work full time as well. So I don't want to be out there till 11, 12 o'clock at night, midnight. That's not my thing. I've got a whole list of things that I've got going on. Like I said,
But an option for business is to be open year round. I ran a 2-shift operation quite a while and expanded to a 3-shift operation. I understand when you're physically limited, the thing to do is expand hours to expand business. That does seem to be a community concern, that you'll be.
and my answer,
More business.
correct. And to say that, I don't foresee to ever add a permanent second shift or third shift. I have a hard enough time keeping employees 9 to 5 as it is. As you well know, finding somebody to work a second shift is virtually impossible. Third shift is, so, especially mechanics, like I said, we're having a hard enough time in our industry now, doing that, so.
Okay,
I think that, he's more compliant with the state by saying he's gonna be doing 9 to 4. And then have this emergency hours. These aren't hours that you have all the time.
Yeah,
They're
no,
just,
no, they're not,
Those are what they call the emergency hours.
yes, ma'am. That's what my.
okay, is there any further discussion? Sir, thank you. Hearing no further discussion, does a member of the board wish to make a motion for consideration?
Ed, can you hear me?
We can hear you, Bill.
Well, we just give him building sites, right? So it seems kind of stupid not to give him the right to go ahead and fix trucks there, to me.
Ideally,
if we-
it would have been reversed, I think, but either way, he'd still decide whether or not he wants to build for his personal use or not.
Yeah, but he doesn't need it for personal use. It was already intended for
Yes,
fixing
this is
engines
very
and
key.
trucks.
This is very key probably on whether or not he would build.
Okay,
And
is
so
it,
whether or not he could have a business.
okay. And it seems like we should have went the other way and done this one first. But
Either
okay,
way,
I understand what you're saying.
If he's gonna pass through this hoop, then he can have a business. And he doesn't have to build if he can't pass through this hoop, just because we gave him a variance.
Yeah, but all right, but he already started what I remember what I said 20 minutes ago. He already started
His
the
risk.
construction.
And that was at his risk. This all
I
happened
understand that.
in a short period of time tonight.
Okay. Well, I don't know if I'm out of line, but I make a motion that we let him get a variance. I don't know, what do you need? We need to change that from agriculture to industrial, or,
He needs a special exception is what he needs.
okay, I say we have a special exception for him, business for semis on, what is that, 1050 and 500.
Right.
But should he,
So I make that motion.
Okay, we have a motion.
I'd like to interrupt that because
You could amend it if you
yeah,
like.
I like to amend that and say that, this, zoning, petition, variance for him will not follow that property if he sells that property.
Right, the special exception will not follow the property, a variance will. Yes, this is a special exception
Okay.
for the business. And Bill has made that motion. Do we have a second? Have a second. Brenda, would you give us a roll call?
Atkins,
Stay again.
Powell,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Jones,
Yeah.
Long,
Yes.
Maynard.
Yeah.
Motion passed. Sir, you have your permit for a special exception and your variance. We thank you for coming in. You- On other business, do you have an attorney report?
No, nothing tonight.
Okay. Ryan, do you have a report?
With the time, nothing, I can't wait for next month.
Yes. Because it's past 7 o'clock. We have a motion to adjourn.
I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn.
One thing to say,
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Chair.
I won't be here.
Okay. Do we have a second? Second. All in favor, say aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.